guys, if you don't know Aphrodite, you should. You see her all over the Slack channel. She's out there. She's helping a bunch of families each and every month. And what I really love to see is when an agent's on an up and up climbing, it's always just a healthy trended number. It's typically not a number that it's like, oh, they just woke up one day and helped 50 families, right? It's an incrementally getting better each and every month number. And Aphrodite, I just want to applaud you for your commitment to literal ongoing self-improvement because it just shines right through. So I appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
All right, you got it, girl. And without further ado, just to kind of hit it off, for anybody who hasn't really had the chance to meet you yet, Afro, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you were doing before Family First Life, and kind of how you got involved in the insurance industry.
All right. So before I was kind of in a limbo. I was working at the bank full time. I had a second job, so I was trying to buy a house at the time. I was in nursing. I went to school full time. I was working full time. It was hell.
Afro, I think you froze on me again, but now I got you back. You said you were working?
Yes, I was working at the bank.
Jobs. Okay.
Yep, and I was in nursing school.
Okay, so you were working hard. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, it sounds like it, and it sounds like you too. And what kind of got you looking at the insurance industry, or what kind of intrigued you about it?
Well, I had a client at the bank that had originally invited me to like a Zoom call, and I was putting it off for a while because I was very into nursing. And then I was dating someone that was an insurance agent. He worked for a different company, and I was moving to North Carolina, and I decided to join FFL and do insurance because it was kind of like the same business.
Awesome. I love that. And I love how you were just quick to take a leap of faith on yourself and just say, like, hey, like, it's commission only. I got it. But I also love how you're open enough to admit, like, hey, I held off on that Zoom for quite some time. And, these are what my plans looked like. But then when I saw the opportunity, you saw the opportunity, right?
I just had to do it. I came back from North Carolina from the breakup, and I was at my mom's, and I was just like, all right, I have to figure this out now.
Absolutely. And, I think for you, Aphrodite, like just again, going back to that, you're stepping up, stepping up, stepping up and getting better each and every month. I think it just says a lot about your characteristics in terms of yourself, right? Some people are going to go into an arena, whether that be starting a business, it be starting here, it be going to convention, it be going to, a close by event. And they're going to go in there, they're going to kind of keep to themselves and not really necessarily ask questions or understand what's going on. Now, for you, Afro, it seems like, you're not that kind of person. You have a problem, you find a solution, right? You're not sitting there talking about the problem, right? You're solution oriented. And I guess with that being said, talk to us about convention last year. Like what did that look like for you being your first convention? And how did it serve you, through 2022?
So I had never written a policy by the time I got to the convention. I had just got licensed. I wasn't even contracted yet. I think I only had mutual in my heart, to be honest with you. My old upline before I got with you guys told me to just go to the convention, and I did. So I showed up there, and I didn't know any of my teammates. No one from my team really showed up, and they were just like, find Christina and Marissa. That's all I was told. I was dropped the link, and I was like, all right. So I think I met you guys the first night at the bar. Then I found you guys at the convention. I kind of just stuck around and followed you guys around, honestly. But being at the convention, just hearing Sean Mike speak in person alone was life-changing. I was like, yeah, I'm going back to Connecticut, and I don't want to speak to any of my friends. Like, I'm done with all you guys. So much changed. And I didn't do insurance full-time right away. I kind of, I knew what I needed to do to get into the business, and I was fresh off a breakup. I came back. I didn't really have anything but a job in my car, honestly. And I just knew I had to make this work. And I think I kind of used like my emotions and my hurt as like fuel to do insurance, honestly. So that's kind of what drove me at the time, to be honest. And yeah, I just worked full time for this restaurant owner. I did his payroll. And I mean, I probably worked till like 1 o'clock in the morning doing like his payroll. I used to drop the envelopes off to the stores. I used to do everything like that. And then I moved. I got my own place. I got enough to buy leads. I'm a huge car person. I love my cars. I had a really cool, fast car. I sold my car so I could buy my first batch of leads.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
So,
it's like, some of us are sitting there and we have the credit card and we won't swipe it. And after you're over here like, dude, I sold my car. Right.
yeah, I did. It was hard.
Like,
and I was like, no, I'm sacrificing it all. I knew what I needed to do. And I knew it had to be a sacrifice. So there was no other way.
right. So you weren't confused. You had to give some things up to go up. You were not confused about that. It sounds like from the jump. And I love how you talked about a convention, just like that energy, so to say, that you felt like you left there and you were like, I'm never talking to this person, that person, because they're just negativity towards my life. And I'm going to move on. I'm going to do A, B, C, D. You went there, right, with no plan, right? You went there and you were told, hey, find Marisa and Christina, right? And then you left there, though, with the plan of like, I'm going to master this thing, right? And that's a big deal. So guys, like, I didn't tell Aphrodite, like, hey, come on here and lie about what happened at convention. And it's like, that's just right after, like, I didn't prep you on that. Right?
Honestly, being at the convention, I feel like is what changed my life, because even being in this business, I was having this conversation with Christina the other day, because I call Venter all the time. I was like, listen, I feel like being in this business has taught me so much, like just self-awareness, the way you think, the way you eat, the way you work out, staying hydrated, small things like that. And I've never really like realized it, but being in this business truly feel like changes your personality, like in a good way. Like it helps you grow fast.
Absolutely. You have no choice, right? It's grow or die. And you're like, I'm going to keep growing.
That's it. Swim or sink. You know what I mean? You either have to make it
or don't, right? And you were like, I'm not going to be one of the ones that don't. So, hey, you're showing up and everyone sees you out there killing it. Now, Aphrodite, your schedule is extremely consistent, right? Like you're always out there, you're crushing it. You're not negotiating things, so to say, when it comes to your schedule, right? So talk to us, a little bit about why that's consistent, and like how important or how vital it's been for you to actually like plug into an office and stay scheduled. Like, what does that help you do, whether that be like personally or that be in the business or both?
So I give myself kind of an intense schedule. I'm up at 4 every day. I'm at the gym by 5 a.m. I kind of take care of my dog in the morning. I'm at the gym at 5. Then Christina got me into journaling. She said, hey, have you tried journal? I have horrible anxiety. So if I can make it through this business with the anxiety I have, anybody can. Let's just say that. So I started journaling every day at 6 a.m. Then I come home and I get ready for my day. I have my leads and everything ready the day before. I organize all my leads, all my door knocks, essential the day before. Everything's in the bag, prepped, iPad charged, ready to go on the road. I'm usually on the road by 7:15. My first appointment is always at 8 a.m. Always. If I have a door knock near my house, I door knock at 7:45 in the morning. I don't care. What's the worst I can do? Not answer the door. I'll leave them a sticky note. So then I'm on the field from I say 8 to 8, but realistically, sometimes we finish like 9:15, depending where we end up at.
Okay, so when you're out there, you're ready to go. And after, I love how you open that up. You're like, I have everything ready, right? Like and it sounds silly until you're doing it, right? Until your iPad is in charge, your leads aren't in order, and you have no door knock set up, right? Then you're like, oh man, I shot myself in the foot, and you're rummaging through your car and you're like swerving, right? So that's why Afro started with, I have all my stuff ready to go. So your door knocks are lined up the night before. Your appointments, they're all in order. You know what you're doing, where you're going, and how you're getting there, right? You're just getting in the car and you're off.
That's it.
Love it. And, in terms of plugging into an office, how has that helped you this year?
Okay. So towards the beginning of the business, I had tried dialing, I think, at like Panera or something like that. Don't ever do it. Don't do it. Dialing from home is okay. I'm not a huge fan of dialing from home, to be honest with you. If I'm not in an office, if I'm not consistent, if I'm not focused, I don't book up. I had a car accident last month. I was forced to dial from home for a few days. I booked probably half the appointments I would if I'm in an office, to be realistically. Personally, I think every agent should be plugged into an office. Consistency is key. I start dialing at like 7:55, 8 a.m. sharp. I'm always on the phone. Always. I don't track my dials because I know that if we're dialing in the office, we kind of keep each other accountable also. So it's like, we'll say hi to each other. We have a quick bathroom break. We're back to dialing. We all take lunch around 12, 12:30. And that's also another thing about the office. We all kind of hold each other accountable and we're very consistent. We know how many dials to get in. We know how many appointments we have to book to be successful for the next 2 days.
Absolutely. I think that's huge because it's like, if you want to stay in the office, right? And you're like, I'm just going to hang out today. Like, everyone's going to be kind of looking at you like what, why are you here? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in an environment of like, we work hard, we get it done, and we make our dials, we book our schedule, we go home, we run our point, like, right. And when you're in that type of environment of accountability, that's huge because I know for me, like, it's like, okay, I'm in my office too. If I wasn't in the office here, Christina, Gianna, Rami, Helena, and so on, I don't know that I would show up and be my best self. I don't know that I would hit the phones. But when I hear Helena booking up her schedule, I'm like, wow, I better make some more dials, right? When I hear Gianna crushing on the phones, I'm like, okay, well, I guess, like I need to pick it up, right? So that accountability factor, I love how you brought that up because it's that one small thing that changes everything, right?
It really does.
Absolutely. And then in terms of your lead flow, what does your lead flow look like? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay. So I am, how do I say this? A lead junkie. If there's ever a coupon and code out, I am the one that will hop on and buy the leads at 5 o'clock in the morning as soon as they drop by hundreds. I probably have like a stack of 1,000 leads, internet leads that I leave in the corner in Schmidt's office in case I don't have any like mailers come in. Those are my backup leads. And lately we really haven't had any mailer leads come in. So I've been dialing internet again. And so I was initially buying 1 and 2 month old mailers and I was doing those because I didn't have a campaign. I actually just got a campaign right now, which I'm super excited about because I'm hoping that, move a little bit up in numbers. But and then I started dialing. I had never really dialed internet leads before, and you guys told me to try it out. My numbers went from being like 12 to 21 that month, I think. And then the following couple weeks, I called Christina and I was like, I haven't really done that many apps. She's like, what are you dialing? She's like, weren't you dialing internet? And I was like, oh my God. So last week I picked up the internet again and I had, I think 25 appointments for like Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. It was ridiculous. Wow. But guys, we dialed from like 8 to 8. But
and you just hit all internet leads, Afro.
All internet.
And then what did those days look like for you? How many families were you able to help, roughly?
Oh my God. I think those 2 days I did 9 apps, 6 and 3. Yeah.
Okay. So 9 families, you know what I mean, guys? Yeah. So it's like, hey, if anyone was second guessing the internet leads, just call Afro. She's going to tell you exactly why they were. And that's
they're definitely a grind, but it's with internet leads, it's more black and white because they either know they want or they don't. So it's quicker to go through the phones, I feel like.
Right. You're like boom, boom, on, off. And now exactly. You mentioned you were going 1 and 2 month mailers before, right? And then you jumped to internet leads, right? So it's a small change in script, right? Talk to us a little bit about what that looked like. I know it's like a small factor, but I feel like people get so caught up on, I only know how to dial, mortgage leads, so I can't buy the internet leads. Like, talk to us a little bit about kind of how you talked yourself down, like, and said, hey, it's not that deep.
So because that was my thing. I was like, how do you guys dial internet? What do you guys say? In the beginning, I was getting hung up on a lot. And that's kind of what discouraged me in the beginning. Then I was like, I think, like, oh my God, so many leads. And I never redialed them again. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Never redialed them. Left them in a corner for months. Took those same leads out months later and booked up. So it's all about script, I feel like. First of all, you have to find what script works for you for any kind of lead. And the only thing that I started changing was before going straight to so with mailers, I'd be like, you put your age here, Miss Mary, as 63. Is that correct? With internet, instead of going to the birthday, I was just like, this is the life insurance programs. I'm the medical underwriter that's been assigned to you to get you this information. instead of going straight to the information. Because with internet, I feel like they're a little bit more skeptical about being like, you know, scammed or whatever. So once you say medical underwriter, I feel like that calms them down a little bit. Then you go, all right, well, I just got to verify this information real quickly. Is your birthday? So I think that small change right there is what kind of did it for me for internet leads, honestly.
So you just kind of tweaked and adjust just a couple of words within your script, and you were able to say, okay, I'm going to use the same one here. And then I like how you talked about medical underwriter. It's like that. It's like the concept, right? People like it, like the sound important, right? Like, you know, like that's, I'm like, she's important. She's the medical underwriter. Like,
yeah, people don't like to hear insurance agent. I think medical underwriter is much more smooth to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So all in all though, Afro, you're not scared to invest in leads. And do you feel like that's because like, you know, they're going to work because you know that you work, or like, where do you think that like having no fear in that kind of comes from?
So in the very beginning, I was very stingy with leads because in the beginning it's hard. Like we don't have thousands of dollars to like drop on leads. It's reality. So I was trying to work the same leads for like 2 to 3 dial days if I could. Then I was starting to realize that even with door knocking, I love door knocking, by the way. But you have to have the appointments booked. You have to. So now if anyone's like, hey, I got Hartford County leads, or there's a coupon out, I always buy leads, because even if you don't use them right now, like with internet leads, I'll just stack them up and say I don't have mailers. I'll just finish the day dialing internet leads and you just book up. And honestly, with dial time, the best hours that I've had, like say, for example, I have a rough dial day during the daytime, I'll redial from 6:30 to 8 p.m. I have always booked at least 4 to 5 appointments in that hour and a half. Everybody is home.
Absolutely. And that's huge. I mean, like you mentioned, Afro, I think it's important. Like I said, in the beginning, everybody by default, by nature, is a little bit nervous to make that initial investment. But once you do and you see the return, you're like, okay, I'm willing to do this a million times. Like how many more, like you said, how many more leads can I get? Right. Like, and I love how you talked about you have that stack of leads there. So if you're not able to book up, you just pick that stack up and you're like, it's not that deep, right? You don't have to scrummage through the CRM and be like, what am I going to do? Right? You're like, this is what I'm doing. You already made the plan, right? Now you're just executing. And that is huge alone. So love that. And you know, you talked a little bit about it just now with door knocks, but you know, your activity from what I know and see, it is extremely high during income producing hours. So like talk to us a little bit about like when you're in the field, like what does income producing activity mean to you?
Oof. So first of all, I kind of look at dial day as payday. Dial day is essential. You have to stay focused. You can't waste time. So for me, is whatever we do on dial day is how the next 2 days is gonna go. When I'm in the field, oof, oh my God, sometimes we overdo it a little bit. I think 2 days ago I was running like an hour and a half behind on all my appointments, honestly. And it happens sometimes, but every single person I went to that was an hour and a half are the people that I actually closed, because I hadn't done anything all morning. It was just crazy. But in between of like no shows, I actually took this from you. So if I get no showed, I'll have 5 door knocks for that area. I'll put them on Road Warrior and I just door knock very quickly. Today, actually for Saturday, I had booked 2 appointments I left them delivery notices stickers on their door. They called back. I booked all 3 of them. So door knocking does work.
And Afro, what % of your sales would you say come from a door knock in some way, shape, or form?
At least 20%.
At least 20%.
Yeah.
So it's like you're putting an extra 20% back into your wallet, so to say, because you're willing to do something that other people aren't willing to do, right?
Yeah, door knocking.
And it's like you think about it too, and 20%, it's like that's your lead cost, right? Ask your
right. It is.
That's your lead cost.
And I think door knocking, personally, what I did with door knocking is I watched Paul McLean's podcast on door knocking. And if I was ever nervous, because now I don't really care about door knocking. I love door knocking because it's like they're older people on disability. You just show up with a little form, you smile, you're cute. They're not gonna be like, oh, who are you? They're gonna be like, oh my God, what is this? Yes, come in. They're not gonna say no. So it's like, if I was ever nervous about door knocking, I would just play Paul McLean's podcast in my car. And I'd be like, they need life insurance. They just don't answer the phone. Don't overthink it. And I just show up smiling. And I'm like, hey, you need life insurance.
Right. And typically they're like, come on in, or they book the appointment, right? No big deal.
Exactly.
Love it. So guys, if you're not out there door knocking, get out there and door knock. Everyone who does it, it's always like they come back and like, I love it. It's like they have this life like transforming experience because they actually door knocked. And it's because it increases your activity so much. It's like, first of all, how can you not feel good about yourself when you just went and did 5 additional door knocks before you went to your next family's home? Like, the activity's working with you and in your favor. So why not, keep gaining it like momentum, right? So that's awesome. And I just think it's extremely important to stress, like Aphrodite just said, guys, at least, and she said at least 20% of her business comes from door knocks. So if you're looking to increase your business by 20%, set up door knocks, 5, like she said, for every single appointment you have set up, or every single gap you have in your schedule, set 5 door knocks there. So awesome. And then, Afro, in this business, we have obstacles, we have challenges, adversities, whatever you want to, refer to them as, so to say. And we can have high highs, we can have low lows in this business, but it's important that we can at least recognize that and kind of be aware of it. What are some things that you do to make sure that you're able to keep your emotions in check? To make sure that they're not messing with your success, so to say.
Oof. I honestly started journaling a lot. Also, we have this saying in the office, in this business, you kind of have to be like a goldfish. Whatever happens in the last home, if you didn't close them, whatever the case was, move on, forget about it. If the client is a no-go, you can't take those emotions and go on to your next home, because energy is huge. Energy speaks louder than words. I don't care what anybody says. I believe in that personally. And if you walk in with a certain attitude or a certain energy, that's just how it's going to happen in the home. I've had days to where I wake up like in a crappy mood. I don't have productive days. So now I kind of like just journal. You have to get your mental together. I try to listen to a podcast between my appointments. Those help a lot. Sometimes music, hey, if you just need to, listen to some music before your next home, that's what you need to do. But don't let your emotions get in the way. Emotions are very huge and they'll eat you alive if you allow them to get to you. So just let it go. Build a bridge and get over it as fast as you can, is what I tell people.
I love that. I love the goldfish analogy. You know what I mean? Like, you got to forget about what just happened and move on. I have never heard that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we always say that. We say have the mindset of a goldfish in this business. Forget about what just happened, move on.
Absolutely. And that's huge, as well as journaling. It's like, like sometimes we're looking for like these big, like transformational answers. Like, you have to sit down and count to 10 and then like, pick your 3 favorite dogs and then like go. It's like, I journal how I'm feeling so that I can make sure I'm operating on the proper wavelength, right? Like, that's how I view it, right? I journal to get my mind right, to get my thoughts out there, right? And I get to choose who reads it, and that's typically nobody, right? And it's like, again, I say, how did you keep everything together in terms of your emotions in check? And you're like, I know this is my job. I know I have to get it done. I know if I do it with a lot of emotion, it's not probably going to serve me. So if I do it with the emotion of wanting to help people and the emotion of a forward mindset, I can do it and I can perform at a much higher level. And you hit on energy too. And that's huge because, like you said, energy absolutely speaks louder than words. There's been times I've been at a home and right when I walk in, it's like, I know that I lost the sale. I know that, it is a sale, or like, it's like, you can just feel it. And then there's times you walk in, it's kind of tense, and then you just feel everything kind of level out and you're like, we're good, right? So that's a real thing. And it's like, when you can start picking up on indicators like that in this business, that's when you know you have actual like signals going off, and that's huge. So I love that, Aphrodite. And now just to kind of wrap it up, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. The first one's going to be, when you go into a home, I feel like, you treat that person like they're a family member of yours, or they're a really close friend of yours. And that's extremely important, right? How do you set the stage when you go into the home to let the client know you're doing business today, but also to be able to build a relationship, with your clients?
Okay. So in the beginning, I feel like I was kind of being too friendly and too nice. And that's why I wasn't closing certain clients, I feel like. So now I kind of set the structure. I walk in with a smile. I always compliment anything in the house, even if it's not the prettiest thing in the world. I always make them feel good about themselves. It's kind of psychological. And also I feel like people always want what they can't have. So when I'm introducing, like, when I'm talking about the product or insurance, I say, unfortunately, life insurance isn't something you could purchase. It's something you have to qualify for. So my job today is to see what you may or may not be eligible for, and to see if we can actually get you qualified. Because there's nothing to really think about if we can't get you any. We'll be sitting here talking about this for no reason. We don't want to waste each other's time. Does that sound fair? And they're usually like, oh yeah, yeah. So they already from there know that we'll be submitting an application to see if we can get them qualified. I start with my credentials, and I'm like, all right, based on your age and your health, I start with the why. I always get the beneficiary's name before I get in the home on the phone. Usually I say, hey, who did you look to set up as your beneficiary? They say my daughter. I'm like, oh, what's your daughter's name? Just so I'm not rude. Boom. They always give me the name. They never say no to that. I always use names when I go in the home. I don't say your daughter, your family. I use personal names. So I say, hey, what would it look like for your daughter, Maria, if God forbid were to pass away yesterday? Emotionally and financially. And they'll kind of answer their own question. They'll be like, oh, it would be very rough for them. They wouldn't have any money to like bury or cremate me. They don't have money. And I'll be like, all right, perfect. So we definitely have to get you something covered today. Does that sound about right? Yes. From there, I tell them that I'm going to run a quick prescription check to see what companies we can go with. And then I say, from there, we're going to find something that's affordable, sustainable, and comfortable for you. Then we'll submit an application to see if we can actually get you qualified. So from there, they know that, A, I'll be needing beneficiary information, who they bank with. Obviously, we need your social for prescription check. And then we'll be submitting an application. So I kind of set everything up as soon as I get in the home.
So typically, would it be fair to say you usually know if you're going to close within the first 5 minutes?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's when you know you're starting to get really good, right? Is like when you walk in, if you just closed or if you didn't, right? And that's a freeing feeling. So I love how you talked about when you walk in, you just say something that makes them feel good, right? That's important, right? Like, for all we know, guys, the people that we're sitting down with, like, maybe there hasn't been somebody that like anybody said anything nice to them in a long time. And, and I'm being so serious because I walk into it every day and it's like, hey, I'm happy I could have just like made Miss Mary's day a little bit brighter while I helped her out with her life insurance, right? So that little compliment goes a long way, guys. And then I also like how you talk about in the beginning that, unfortunately, essentially life insurance isn't something everybody qualifies for. So we need to make sure you're going to qualify, right? And the names, that's huge. You don't want to find yourself in a home saying your daughter, your sister, your wife, you want to be calling them by their name. So I love how you get that over the phone because walking in, hey, this is a mom looking to cover her daughter named Jillian, right? Like, all of that when you're walking in. And that alone, it's a huge just upper hand. And it makes it a lot more personal. If someone's using my name versus using a name like John and Mary, it's like, if someone's using like, Marisa and Rami, I'm going to take it more personal than John and Mary, like, because it's my name. Same thing with Rami, with Christine, like with all of you guys on this call, if someone's using your name, like I'm listening, right? It's a lot more personal to me at that point. So that's huge. And then also I love how you say affordable, sustainable, and comfortable, right? So you're not in all those things. I love those 3 words. I'm like, hit us with it again. Affordable, sustainable, and comfortable.
Yeah.
And people like that, right?
Because they know, like, most of these people that we deal with are on disability, so they know, they're like, from the beginning, they're like, I can't afford much. I'm like, that's why we're going to find something that's affordable, sustainable. And I always tell them, I'm like, hey, my goal today here is to help you, not to hurt you. So we need to make sure that this is going to stick so we can actually use it when you need it. And you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely. And when you're putting somebody in that type of position, it's like, again, they're putting their guard down, they're trusting you, and they're like, okay, she's here with good intentions, right? She's not here to try to sell me, a policy that costs me $500 a month when my income's $900, right? They can see, right? So I love that. And then just to kind of wrap up the call, Afro, what are your goals? Now that we're in 2023, you really leveled up this whole year and it's been amazing to see. What are your goals for 2023?
So, well, I'm getting a campaign, so I'm hoping that, that's going to be easier flow. I'm hoping to hit Hall of Fame next year. So
You're hoping, or you're gonna?
I am. I mean, I'm shooting for Hall of Fame. We'll say that.
All right, that's fair. And
So that's the
Afro,
goal.
there's no doubt in my mind that you can hit Hall of Fame. You just put your mind to it. 33, 34 families a month. You're going to be averaging that in like no problem. So you can check that off. It's done. Now it's just about get after that activity. Afro, anything else you'd like to share today before we wrap up?
I think that's it. Just stay consistent, because my thing in the business was, in the very beginning, I was still working like 2 jobs and trying to juggle everything. Consistency is key, even on Saturdays. I know most people kind of take the weekend off. Saturdays might be like less application taking days. So those are the most solid ones, I feel like. So just stay consistent.
Absolutely. And that is the key to this business. If you're consistent with your schedule, your lead flow, your dials, your activity, and your mindset, you're going to win here.